Good evening. You're watching the main news on HOY International Business Channel. I'm Janice Lo. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Police confirmed they have arrested the correct suspect for an armed robbery 32 years ago, which saw a shopkeeper killed. Security chief defends a $5.5 billion scheme to redevelop Lai Chi Kok Reception Center. And Chinese state media drum up hype ahead of meeting between President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart, Joe Biden. A mainland man has been charged with murder in relation to a botched robbery in Shamshui-po 32 years ago. The 59-year-old suspect was snapped at the border over the weekend, with his DNA samples matching evidence at the scene. Janice Lo reports.
Wearing a hood, Wen Wenye was escorted out of police's Kowloon West Regional Headquarters last night. The 59-year-old fugitive was arrested on Saturday as he tried to enter Hong Kong through the Shenzhen Bay border on a tourist visa. It is believed he was planning to attend his uncle's funeral service. Wen, who claimed to be a factory worker on the mainland, was linked to an armed robbery in June 1991. He was believed to be one of 3 men who raided a second-hand watch and jewelry shop on Pei Ho Street. After they failed to smash open the glass cabinets with a hammer, one of the men pulled out a pistol and fatally shot the 56-year-old shopkeeper in the head after the alarm had gone off. The trio then jumped into a getaway car and fled the scene empty-handed. The vehicle was later found abandoned in Tai Kok Tsui, with a blood-stained T-shirt on the seat. That piece of garment proved to be pivotal in identifying Wen, as DNA tests proved to be a match. His fingerprints also matched those found at the scene.
T-shirt 上面嘅 DNA 係屬於呢名被捕人士。
Superintendent Alan Zhong explained that police had already locked down the suspect in 2021, but were unable to extradite him because there's no such arrangement between the mainland and Hong Kong. Detectives are still trying to determine if Wen was the one who shot the shopkeeper, while a manhunt is still underway for his accomplices. Wen was charged with murder and attempted burglary as he appeared at Kowloon City Magistracy this afternoon. He did not enter a plea and was remanded while the case was adjourned until January. With the original area already redeveloped into upscale residential blocks, there were few clues that this was the scene of the armed robbery 32 years ago. This man, who runs a tire shop nearby, recalled the watch store's owner had shut down the business after that fateful incident. Janice Lo, Cable News.
A $5.5 billion project to renovate Lai Chi Kok Reception Center has faced backlash from lawmakers and a retired senior policeman. But the security chief is having none of it. Macy Mok reports.
In a scathing article, retired Police Chief Superintendent Alec Zhang lashed out at the government's $5.5 billion plan to redevelop the Lai Chi Kok Reception Center. The former senior policeman even went so far as to accuse responsible civil servants of financial sabotage when the government is already facing a deficit in the coming years. That prompted Security Chief Chris Tang to hit back today. Without naming names, Tang condemned people who tried to portray the project as one of soft resistance, a form of disobedience often linked to national security breaches. Tang insisted his colleagues all work diligently and have nothing but Hong Kong's interests in mind. Another vocal critic of the plan was lawmaker Janice Lo, who asked if there was a need to provide a 5-star prison for inmates. Ho is my good friend, and I think you would agree he is a lawmaker who dares to speak up, Tang said. The security chief said he would address Ho's misconceptions by inviting him to a site visit. He insisted the aging facility desperately needs a facelift, especially when it has been running beyond capacity. The project now awaits final vetting at the Legislative Council's Finance Committee, after it was endorsed by 16 lawmakers on the Public Works Subcommittee last week. Lawmaker Doreen Kong, who was at the meeting but abstained from voting, said she had reservations for the project.
Hong Kong is undergoing a very tough economic situation, and I really don't see the urgency in redeveloping the reception center. If our court system is slow, for example, causing a lot of the detainees or this kind of persons in custody waiting in this reception center, then we need to find the right solutions.
She suggested speeding up court procedures instead, so that the number of people in remand can be reduced. Maisie Mock, Cable News.
Fast food and dry goods stalls will return to Lunar New Year fairs next year. Vendors are hoping for roaring trade because of the increased traffic. Here's Maisie Mock.
For the first time in 5 years, Hong Kong's Lunar New Year fairs will no longer only offer flowers and plants. The last time revelers were able to snap up festive items and munch on street snacks was 2019. The government cancelled dry goods stalls the following year because of the social unrest, while fast food stalls were even removed in 3 subsequent editions due to strict COVID rules. With the fairs set to return to their former glory, competition was intense on the first day of auction for stalls located in Victoria Park. The most sought-after space was a fast food stall at a prime location. The opening price of $120,470, a 40% discount from 2019, shot up quickly after the bidding paddles were raised 14 times. It was eventually won by this man for $220,000. That was 58% lower from pre-pandemic levels, but $18,000 more than that of 2020. 3 other fast food stalls were sold between $180,000 to $192,000. This man who won a fast food stall hoped the improved atmosphere will boost traffic. He estimated sales to reach 60 to 70% of pre-COVID levels. Food and Environmental Hygiene Senior Superintendent Hui So-hing said officers will be on the lookout for products which may promote the violation of national security law. If verbal or written warnings were ignored, the stalls could be seized from the vendor. The week-long Lunar New Year fairs will be held at 15 locations in February next year. There will be around 1,500 stalls, 1/5 of which will be in Victoria Park alone, a 2-fold increase compared to its previous edition. Maisie Mock, Cable News.
The United States should ditch its zero-sum thinking and seek mutual benefit with China, according to Chinese state media. CCTV also described the forthcoming talks between President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart as something worth looking forward to. Ahead of the historical meeting between President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden, Chinese state media drummed up the already intense hype to new levels. A commentary published on CCTV's website described the dialogue, which will take place on the sidelines of the Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in San Francisco, as something worth looking forward to. The article emphasized that the upcoming talks underlines Beijing's sincerity in improving ties, while Washington should reciprocate that attitude and remain pragmatic. Sino-US relations have soured since Xi and Biden last met at the G20 summit in Bali 12 months ago. The article listed a string of incidents, including what it called the balloon political show, referring to an unmanned Chinese airship which transversed U.S. airspace early this year. Beijing emphasized at the time it was a civilian weather balloon, but the Pentagon said it was a surveillance device and shot it down. Taiwan leader Tsai Ing-wen's California meeting with then House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in April further infuriated China. The People's Liberation Army responded with massive drills in the Taiwan Strait over days, saying they were a warning against separatists and external forces pushing for the island's independence. Then came the Biden administration's restrictions on the types of semiconductors which can be sold to China, part of an escalating tech war between the two nations. The article said all these incidents went against the consensus of the heads of state to cooperate, and it was time for the U.S. to put their words into action. Overseas, Israel has once again denied it was to blame for the humanitarian crisis at Gaza hospitals, which are experiencing blackouts due to lack of fuel to power generators.
Israel has said Hamas is headquartered there. Even if that is the case, does that justify jeopardizing the lives of sick people and babies, Mr. Prime Minister?
No, on the contrary, we offered actually last night to give them enough fuel to operate the hospital, operate the incubators and so on, because we have obviously no battle with patients or with civilians at all. And I think every civilian death, every dead baby is a tragedy. But that tragedy should be placed squarely at the responsibility of Hamas, that is keeping its military installations inside hospitals, its command posts inside hospitals, inside schools, inside UNRWA, UN facilities, and so on.
Israeli forces also released footage purporting to show soldiers transporting cans of diesel to an unspecified location near the hospital. But health officials in Gaza said medical personnel could not even step outside to take delivery because Israeli snipers would shoot anyone on sight. Reports are suggesting that Nicholas Augustin will not get a second term as chief executive of Hong Kong Exchanges and Clearing. The Argentine banker was appointed in May 2021 for a 3-year term. Mingpao newspaper quoted sources as saying that the board of the exchange operator is inclined not to renew his contract. But there were also calls to extend Augustin's tenure for 1 year, so his departure won't coincide with that of chairwoman Laura Cha. A decision could be made as soon as this month. By comparison, Augustin's predecessor, Charles Lee, served nearly 11 years before stepping down 5 months early. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended today up by 222 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Checker Fund gained 25 cents, Tencent was up by $7, and Meituan was up by 90 cents. Ping An gained $15, while AIA was up $1.15. To the foreign exchange against the Hong Kong dollar, the euro is at 8.33, the pound's at 9.55, and the Canadian dollar is at 5.64. Over in the UK market, the FTSE 100 is currently up by 43 points. That's our main news for Monday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Janice Lo. Thanks for watching and good night.